Hello and welcome back to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another crafting video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are we doing this week? So this week I am going to be returning to my chicken scratch skull, which I'll get on with in a moment. But first I want to do a quick bit of a haul video. Don't worry, this won't be too long. But basically on the weekend, on Sunday just gone, I visited the Stafford Wool Gathering, which for some reason is very difficult to say, and I've got some bits and pieces that I want to show you. So first of all, I'll do a quick montage with some little video and photo clips, and you can see them on here, and I'll put the name of the vendors and exhibitors on the screen as well. So just enjoy. Okay, so I'll also put the name of the vendors and things that I meant down there down in the description. I've got quite a few of the vendors' cards and bits and pieces here, so I won't show all of those because obviously it would be a very boring video if I did that. However, I've got a few little bits and pieces that I want to show you that I've picked up. So first things first is this one, and this is the wool from Shetland sheep. And it's from these folk here, so make sure you check them out. And again, I'll be putting all of their details down in the description. It's lovely sort of springy wool, so it's going to be quite interesting to see if I can spin that into deep reasonable yarn. I'm also thinking maybe of doing some dyeing on it, but I'll think about that later. I also picked up some things from Haberdashery and More. I hope you can see the label there. And that is some very big chunky buttons and some Halloween-y themed buttons, because of course this is the season for us to look at Halloween-y things. So of course that's what I'm going to pick up. There we go. And then I managed to get myself a mini band loom here. This is from these guys, the Wonky Weaver, and a lot of these guys are in Wales, which is quite good, but I'm going to see if I can get some more bits and pieces from them maybe in a while. They also had some niddy noddies and dropper spindles and e-spinners, so all sorts of things that were very, very tempting, but I didn't go for many of them because I have a very big lack of funding at the moment. But I got this, which is a little mini heddle that I can use to do some strap weaving, which would be nice. I also picked up some very fancy hand-dyed superwash merino 25% nylon self-striped wool from All's Wool That Ends Wool, and I thought these lovely sort of rainbow colours would make an excellent woven strap or a finger braid strap, so I think I might have a go at that. Don't know yet. And that's from these guys here, All Wool That Ends Wool, which is very difficult to say when you haven't got an S at the end of the wool. Very strange, but yeah, there's their QR code, so if you want to give them a good follow there, and go and follow them on Instagram and on Facebook. But again, I'll put that all down in the description, but I'm looking forward to using those for something. Once again, I am thinking of something to do without any actual plan. Now, the next bit I've got is something I'm a little bit excited by. So I went to these guys. They do all sorts of spinning and felting and dyeing and things. And they had some of this beautiful, soft merino roving that I'm going to have a go at spinning. But they also had some beautiful spindles. You probably saw them on the photos. I went for a very simple one with a very tight whirl to try and get myself some tighter yarn on this, and you can see it's got the notches at both ends, but it hasn't got a hook, so I'm gonna have to use the loopy method, which is going to be fun because I've not done that before, but definitely going to look forward to doing some more spinning and weaving in the winter. This is what I'm going to be getting up to after half term. Then we've also got some, what have I got in here? Oh yes, I've got some pretty little buttons there, and some hand dyed embroidery floss, which I think is fantastic. I love those colours. I just picked them up at random. They're a bit mix of rayon and cotton and all sorts of things, but that's from these guys here, Little Gems Felts, the art of felting, and they've got all these other bits and pieces there as well. So yeah, have a look at them online. I'm also going to make sure that that is the correct name, because embroidery floss and felting, not too sure about if they're from the same company, but I'll check later. Because I did try to do my usual thing of going around and doing a photograph of me holding the thing next to the name of the company, but that was on the little felting stand. We've also got the yarn artist, these guys here. It's hand-dyed yarn, and they also had some really beautiful yarn that was made for, they had some roving that was coloured and used for making things inspired by art, but also by Taylor Swift as well, which is just interesting. So they had all these kinds of fabric that were inspired by Van Gogh's A Starry Night. I didn't pick any up, but the person I was with, Lizzie, she was very excited by this and picked up quite a few bits and pieces. It was quite funny because Lizzie was trying to make me spend less and I was trying to make Lizzie spend more. I don't think we quite worked it out. I also had a look at some of the embroidery that this lady was selling. I did post some pictures, but it's all mixed in. But some of the embroideries that she did were a little bit risque, a little bit naughty, so I couldn't quite show them on screen. So go to her website and you'll see exactly what she's talking about, or at least what I'm talking about anyway. Then we've got some dies, some Procyon dies that I bought from these guys here. Hold on 1 second. So this is ET Craft and Design. They do the different kinds of dies and things that you need, and that's their details there. And they also do courses, and they do craft books and things, bits and pieces like that. An awful lot of stuff there, but I picked up some of their their Procyon dies in colours that I hadn't seen yet, which I might use for tie-dyeing. But also, yeah, just worth having a look because they've got lots and lots of yarn and bits and pieces that are just ready for dyeing that you can pretty much do from scratch. So I might have a look at those. Might also have a look at some of the courses, because there were a lot of people selling or vending courses on weaving and on dyeing and all these kinds of things. Then I got some things from these guys, and this is the Braid Society. So you know me, I love myself a bit of braiding, and I'm going to have a look at some other bits and pieces. There is their details just there, and they were selling books and guides on braiding, and they were doing demos. So I've got one on the Laramie braid and Kumihimo and inkle loom weaving. And yes, the inkle loom weaving is one of the ones that I really would like to have a go at. But they do courses, and they do like workshops and meetups and bits and pieces, and quite a few of these people did do like meetups and offer things like that. So where's the other one that I had? It's in this pile here, but I think it was the Spinning Society, but I'll put the name on here if I can find them, and apologies for that. And then finally I picked up some actual yarn. I could have gone and bought 20 times as much as I did, but I was very restrained, and I bought this from Unseen Yarn. This is luxury hand-dyed yarn, which is absolutely beautiful. It's merino and nylon, and that's these guys here. And I was thinking that they could be really good for weaving or for hand braiding or something else. I don't know yet. I'm still planning what's going to be happening after we go to Brighton, but I'll talk to you about that in a bit. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, did you go to the Wool Fest? Did you go to the Stafford Wool Gathering? Are you going to go to any of the other wool and weaving and spinning festivals that are going to be happening in the UK? I've heard a lot about Yarndale, but I've also heard somebody say on Sunday that although they'd been to Yarndale several times, they weren't going to be doing it anymore because of various reasons. But yeah, let me know, is there anything that you think I should have a look at and maybe go to as well? Because you know me, I'm always up for a visit, but maybe my bank balance would like me to have a bit of a break from that. Anyway, I will just get rid of all those bits and pieces next to me, and I will be back in a second to show you what's going on with my chicken scratch skull. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Bye bye. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see I've managed to get all of the outline done and the details here. Again, I used stem stitch here and I used chain stitch here, so it's got quite a slightly more bulky line on the outside, and now the only area I've got to do is the teeth. I was thinking of just leaving it like that and having him with no teeth, but I wanted to complete this, to be honest with you. I have here my template that I used to draw around, so I've just laid that across and just did a sort of mark to where the teeth were, and I'm going to hand draw them on and hope that they look reasonable. I've sort of found the center line here, which is just between sort of the center of the nose and going down, so that's going to be where the middle teeth go. And again, this is heat erasable marker, so it should disappear. It will disappear, not should, it will disappear when I do when I do some ironing on here. So yeah, and I'm just trying to get the teeth looking reasonably the same, and I am going to be stitching over my threads that I've done previously, but that's fine. And if it's not even, that is also fine, because teeth aren't always entirely even, are they? You get these things of having perfect teeth, but perfect teeth don't really exist in real life, do they? Not unless you've had lots of dental work. I'm going quiet because I'm thinking. And you know me, I can't think and talk at the same time. My brain is too small. There we go. That looks just about right. This is only going to be sort of general positioning, and I've got a slight curve on there. So let's make that a little bit wider at the top, and then that one can be a little bit shorter because that's the eye tooth. And then this one's a little bit longer because it's the canine. And then this one, just make it a little bit wobbly, because you need to have that sort of surface difference as its teeth. So they're never going to be 100% even, are they? Now, I was planning on starting my next project as well. So what I'm doing behind the scenes, if you've had a look, you'll have seen my my shorts where I'm doing pattern designs. At the moment I'm doing very Halloween-y themed pattern designs, which I really like, because this is one of my favorite times of the year, because there's a lot more sort of creative spookiness. And yes, I haven't changed the name of my channel just yet, but it will be changing at some point. But even if I do change the name of my channel, I'm still going to be embracing the spooky, because that's what I enjoy. So I am designing behind the scenes some patterns on Amaziograph, which is a program that I use, and one of them is one that I was planning on using, or starting to use today. It is a black work design, which I'll post on the screen just here, and I was going to do like black work in the center, and then white work skulls, and then embroidery around the outside for the vines and for everything else there. However, I did try to print it small so it'd be fit into an A4 size, and then going to embroider that. But when it printed, it came out like this, which looks better on screen than it does in real life. You can see here the patterns of the actual individual lines at the center are so tiny that if I did stitch it like that, it would lose all definition. So I'm going to print it up a much bigger one and do sort of half and half on each piece of this interfacing, and then I'll stitch that, and I'll start that next week. This is sticky interfacing. It's got like a sticky peel off layer just there, as you can see underneath, it peels off just there, and then that sticks onto your fabric, and then you can stitch through it, and then this will wash away. However, this is a bit too small for me. If I did start to try and stitch this, I would either lose my ability to see, or I would make mistakes, and I don't want to make mistakes. So I'm going to come back to that later in the week once I get my printing settings sorted out. However, in the meantime, I've got these teeth to do. So I'm going to go back to using the stem stitch, and I'm still sticking with my number 8 Perlé from DMC, the finest DMC. But yes, it seems to be the one that works best for me. And I hope you don't mind my voice at the moment. Again, I've caught the autumn lurgies, one of the autumn lurgies, and so my voice is complaining about being used. But such is life. Okay, so I'm wondering whether or not to come in with some other colours for this as well, so some browns or yellows to make the teeth look more yellow. But I think the white teeth work best. I'm also going to be coming in with more of these kinds of stitches, these random stitches, but I'm going to try and use that to do almost like an element of shading on these teeth. So what I'll be doing is adding some more of these lines going down the centre of the teeth, but leaving the outside edges darker. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm going to come back in with a stem stitch, and we'll see how we go. So I'm going to start down here, and yes, so with the stem stitch, at least you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I think is a stem stitch. Again, I'm still busy, I'm still learning. You go in, come back a little way, like this, and then you come back sort of halfway and pull through, and then you do the same again, but using the same side. So come in a little way and come back through and stitch. And I'm using my left hand because I like to live dangerously. So in, oops, back and through, and in, oops daisy, back and through. Going to try and see if I can get you in a better position than that, because the light is again casting very deep shadows, so apologies for that, guys. Let's see if I can get you a better position. Is that better? We shall see. The problem is that when you're filming, you've got to try and A, be able to see for yourself, and B, make sure that the audience can see, which is something that I've always sort of struggled with, especially as I'm doing teeny tiny pieces. And if I did do my black work design like you saw me showing a few minutes ago, it would be so tiny that you'd not be able to see any of it. I mean, when I was doing my gold work pattern, I really struggled to be visible at the same time as doing the work, but hoping that I've got some ideas and some better ideas of how to do that in the future. This is why if you get to be a more fancy, a more professional YouTuber, you have multiple cameras and things, and I have done that in the past. I've had my iPhone, which is what I'm filming on, as well as another camera or another tablet or whatever, but having this one filming the main sort of top down view, and then the other one as more of a sort of side on or a close-up view, which you could move around and cut in and so on. But it is very, very finicky, and yeah, it's not something that I really got very good at. Maybe in a few years when I've got myself my own craft room and all those things that I keep talking about, one day will come sometime, won't it? Right, so let's go back to here. Okay, and there we go. Try to make sure that the stitch always comes out on the same side of the loop, otherwise it's going to look uneven, and I'd quite like to do a good finish on this one. There we go. So yeah, I mean, we're gearing up for Halloween, and we're gearing up for our trip to Brighton, and we're all really looking forward to it now. I normally do like a few days worth of shorts and videos and things a few days ahead, but obviously because we're going to be away, I might have to catch up on things once I get back. But yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm also gonna have to play catch up with my videos and things. What I'm thinking of doing is doing some shorts of what we see in Brighton, what we visit, what we have a look at, but also I'm planning to take Squinks out for some of the days for an explore through the city, and going to take some sketch pads with us, like little notey sketch pads, and take some pens and pencils and things with us, and see if we can do some plein air sketching. So you can laugh at my French pronunciation then. I know I said it wrong. But we're going to be sketching out on the beaches or out in the towns in the city, and just having some fun as we're going. I think it would be nice to do some city sketching, because it's something I haven't done in a long while, and I'm thinking of obviously bringing my phone along, and I do most of my filming on my phone, so I'll be trying to get clips of us doing that as well, and just to see what we can create. It's going to be fun, but yes, it's as I've mentioned many times, it's an absolutely wonderful city to visit. It's very left-leaning. It's very Green Party friendly and so on and so forth. But it's also very LGBTQIA plus friendly. I hope I said that right. I apologise if I didn't. And it's wonderful to see people being as accepting and as open as they are down in Brighton. It's interesting because when I was a little tiny, when I was a very young child, my parents would go and stay in a place in Shoreham for like summer holidays and half terms and things, and Brighton was a very short either train ride or car ride away, and me and my older brother used to go, can we go to Brighton, can we go to Brighton? And it used to be almost incessant, can we go, because we really did love it. It used to have, unfortunately, the Brighton Aquarium and Dolphinarium, where unfortunately there were several dolphins kept that did live shows for the public, and unfortunately the dolphins have now been rehabilitated and moved back out into the wild, I believe, but it's still got the aquarium in this beautiful, very old, almost crumbling semi-underground building, like literally meters away from the Brighton Pier. Now, the Brighton Piers are also a fascinating thing to look up. We go to, I think it's the Grand Pier, which is still there, and the North Pier used to be there, but then caught fire, and now there is just the remains of the pier, just like blackened metal struts that stick out of the water, and they've been there since the 80s, I believe, if I remember rightly, and for years and years there was talk of, oh, can we rebuild them, but as time's gone on and the weather has taken its toll on the remains, it's become more and more obvious that bringing them back would be nigh on impossible. It's one of those things where it was almost like a political point at one point, but it's a fascinating place to go and see, and Squinks was quite taken with it when they went to have a look last time, and I think it'd be nice to go and do a sketch of the remains of the husk sticking out of the sea as well, so that could be a fun thing to do. I'm also wondering how I'm going to be able to do a Friday Fabric Fumble, so you might have to wait a week, guys. Like I say, I'm going to take the pattern that I've created from Amaziograph. I'm going to take it, I'm going to use that to start a black work and white work project. I've never done white work before, but I think it could be fun to have a go. And I'm also thinking of trying to do a little bit of cut work on and around the little skulls that I've drawn on there, because I think doing that onto either off-white linen or white cotton in white cotton thread would be a nice thing to do, but we shall see. Obviously, we're also going to find some time for me to relax, which funny enough, does also include me doing crafts and things. It's quite funny because my husband's like, can you stop please for a while and have a rest and have a break? I'm like, but doing stitch work is my break. It's the thing that I find centres me almost. I think a lot of other crafters and creative folk feel the same, don't you? It is hard work sometimes, but it's hard work that you enjoy, so it doesn't always feel like hard work. It's when you're doing your stitching, or you're doing your creating, or you're doing your drawing, or whatever, and whilst you're doing them, you don't realise how long you've spent stitching. You don't realise how long you've sat without drinking, or without eating, or without moving, and then you feel it as soon as you get up afterwards. Isn't that always the way, though? Let me know, guys. Do you forget where you are and what you're doing whilst you're stitching or doing other crafts? Let me know down in those comments. It is quite funny because it happens every time, and sometimes I sort of do myself little alarms and things to remind me to stop. But the alarm goes off, and then I go, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just carry on for a couple of minutes, and then I'll stop, and then I forget that it's a couple of minutes. What do you think? How's this looking, guys? I think I might need to refer to a skull picture to try and get the top edges quite right, because I know that they don't quite look how they've been represented here, but overall I think it's looking pretty good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing. I don't know if I'm going to be wearing this or if Squinks is going to be wearing this. I think it's probably going to be usurped by Squinks again, because they do have a tendency to half-inch my my pieces that they like, especially if they are scully or spooky or whatever. But I suppose that's a compliment in a way, isn't it? You've made this pretty thing, Mum. I want it. But yes, it's quite funny because if you remember, I made that Mori jacket. I'll post a picture on here if you can't remember. That I spent weeks and weeks and weeks on doing black work stitches and doing all kinds of decorations on, and then that was on the Wolverhampton Art Gallery walls for it's for 3 or 4 months now, isn't it? And one of their friends from school went to the gallery with their mum, and they were like, oh my gosh, Squinks, there's a jacket on this wall that you would really love. And it was the jacket that I made, and Squinks was like, yeah, that's my jacket. It's funny, and that the friend absolutely did not believe them, which I also think is quite funny. But it's just funny to see how different people react to it, I suppose. But yeah. But yes, I think I may have made that last stitch a little bit too long, so I'm going to make the next one a little bit shorter. There we go, that's a bit better. I think getting this centre line of teeth tips in place first is a good idea, and any areas where I feel like I need to make it darker, like the little gaps between the teeth here, I can use a thicker chain stitch, or I can maybe come in with some French knots or something of that nature, just to bulk it out a bit. But I think it's looking good. But we shall see what happens. Okay, so there we go. I always make myself laugh when I do like guidelines like this. They are literally guidelines because I've already gone off them in several places, but that's what works for me. I like to sort of freestyle it a bit. But I really do like how the chicken scratch has worked on this pattern. I think a scully chicken scratch, slightly unexpected, but I think it works really well. And I do really like how the eyes and the nose look, because even though there's no light shading or whatever, the red covering the white patches and the black lines really brings the colour down to make it very contrasty from the nose and eyes to the outside edge, like it is here, especially with the white stitches in between. I think it's worked so much better than I expected. But then again, that's always the way, isn't it? There's so many things I do that work a lot better than expected, which is, maybe I should start expecting things to be better. I don't know. It's always a surprise to me how well things turn out, even though I've made things that turn out well before. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Yes. But we shall see what happens with this one. I didn't want to make this like intentionally spooky, and I didn't want to make it sort of cute or silly like that. I wanted it just to be more just, here's a skull. But I'm thinking of maybe adding some orange flowers around the outside edge, just so that I can sort of evoke those sort of marigold colours that certain cultures use. But I'm not going to actually create marigolds, because again, cultural appropriation, not a good thing. Yes, but I always do think that the orange and yellows that certain peoples use look really good against the white or sort of off-white skulls. It's almost magical in appearance, I suppose, but yes, personal taste and all that. There we go. Anyway, just gonna continue this bit down here. Let's see, that I left a little bit of a gap there, so I might have to go back a little bit on there. There we go. That's better. Yep, it's horrible and grey here in the UK again. The sun has been trying to shine for the last week, and it's definitely come a cropper against the clouds that we've got here at the moment. It's very, very grey, but it's the right time of year for it to be grey, so that's not a complaint, just an observation. But it does mean that everything gets ever so slightly damp, because that's where, got very moist air at the moment. But yes. But we've still got lots of things to look forward to. I'm going to start to think about what things to do for Christmas. What kind of seasonal Christmas things are you going to be doing? Are you going to be making your own decorations? Are you going to be making your own Christmas cards, maybe? What kinds of gifts do you want to make for your family and friends? I've already done my main bit of making, which was the Christmas stockings, and I think they turned out pretty well. And they've arrived with my brother and my niece and nephew, and apparently they really loved them. So that's all good. But yes, and it's time to start thinking about Christmas presents and things. I've still got to send my Secret Santa to my friends over in America. but I've got to work out what I'm doing for that, because I haven't worked that out yet. I really should have by now, but it's been one of those months again where everything has happened at once. But yes, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I've just got to put aside the time to do it. But that will definitely be an after Brighton trip, after Halloween type thing. And as for me, after Halloween, I will be starting on other kinds of crafting. So hopefully the black work embroidery shouldn't take too long. But yes, it's going to be time for me to get started on my spinning projects. So using some of the wools and the roving that I've picked up from the not the Creative Craft Show, the Stafford Wool Gathering, and having a go at maybe doing some crochet with the wool that I make, or some other bits and pieces, because I've still got to catch up with my crochet project. And I'm going to be bringing back the goldwork project, which I haven't touched in far too long. It's just been one of those things where every time I've gone to do it, it's not been the right time. It is quite a finicky, very, very detailed project, which you would have seen if you saw my last video on it. And I really, really love doing it, but I really want to devote time to it to make it as good as humanly possible, because I want to make sure that I do it justice. Let's just shift you over a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to come in from there. And stitch down from there. Oops, daisy. We're very naughty today, aren't we? Well, I am. Well, the thread is, I suppose. Not me, personally. But yes. But yeah, I mean, I've got this goldwork project that I do really, really, really like the process. But it is something that you do have to have the time to concentrate and things. And it's one of the processes where I do have to admit that my eyes are not so great anymore. And I'll have to wear my my reading glasses and admit that I'm getting old. But yes, that is just how life goes, isn't it? Yep. Right, so I'm going to start at the top end here and just do the lines down, going down here. I'm going to keep doing this with the stem stitch, so going back on myself like that. I was thinking about doing a double back stitch, but I think stem stitch is probably the better one, because it's quite a bulky design, so I want to make sure that it is nice and visible what it is. I don't want the stitches to disappear into the design. But yes, what kind of motifs, what kind of pattern things do you think I should have added here? I was thinking about doing something like this again, but maybe with a cat face or something of that nature. I don't know. Might have looked a bit cheesy though. But yes. I don't know though. What do you reckon? Are skeletons de rigueur, or are they a little bit much? Oops, daisy, I managed to unstitch myself there. That's not a great sign, but I'll do that again. Get myself a decent bit of stitch in there just to make sure it joins up nicely, and then down here. I hope this isn't going to be boring you too much, because it is just the one stitch for most of this. But I think it's important to, you know, have slow videos as well as fast videos. I was hoping to, as I say, to start the black work design that I showed you earlier, but I do think it would have been far too small for me to make a good job of. It would have just been all black and nothing else, which is not what I'm going for at all. But here's yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this winds up. It's been a bit of a labour of love again, but it hasn't taken as long as I thought it might, because again, my judgment of time and how long things takes just is a bit special, because I don't always think about how things would have worked out, and I very rarely get an accurate estimate of how long a project's going to take, as I'm sure you guys are well aware of, because I always think they're either going to take longer or shorter than they do. But you know, once again, I am, in the words of wisdom, I am very much learning still, and long may the learning continue. But yes, but yeah, I am quite looking forward to doing some spinning and weaving after Christmas. I'm going to be going back to my pin loom and finishing off the project that I started last year. It's just been really good to find some time to catch up on these things, because after my trip to Brighton, I'm going to be doing some having some days off from work to try and catch up on all of the bits and pieces that I'm trying to get done, which is useful. I think it's not necessarily a holiday, but it's a day that will help me to get ahead with what I want to do. And that's the thing, isn't it? I've got so many things that I do want to do. It's interesting, because it means like we were going to the Stafford Wool Gathering on the weekend with Lizzie, and like I say, my job was to get her to spend more, and her job was to get me to spend less, and I think both of us sort of managed to fulfill our roles. However, there are lots and lots of courses that I'm now having a look at and thinking, I could do a weekend course of yarn dyeing, I could do a weekend course of spinning, I could do and go and find these places to do these things, which I think would be really fun. And again, it's time off, but it's time off to do stuff. So yes, I think I would like to. I've also, one of the things I was looking at whilst I was down at the Wool Gathering was what spinning equipment they had. There were a few like drop spindle folk there, but I could have done with seeing a few more. But there was also sort of much larger scale spinning equipment, like spinning wheels and e-spinners and things like that. There was a teeny tiny one. It's about that big. So hold on. It was about that big. A teeny tiny e-spinner that you use for spinning wools, and that was £145–150, which was almost affordable. However, not quite affordable for me just at the moment. But maybe when I get past Christmas, I'll be able to get myself something nice like that, so I can have a go at that as well as with the drop spindle, which I think should be fun. I've also said to Lizzie that I'll try and get to giving her a lesson on spinning, which, as I'm a complete beginner myself, as well you know, it should be fun. Lizzie gave me a lesson on crochet a few weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought I did pretty well. And Lizzie was like, oh my gosh, you actually do know how to do this. And I'm like, I know how to do it right now when you're telling me what to do, but give me 20 minutes and I'll forget everything. And yeah, I have forgotten everything. Unfortunately, I've told Lizzie that I do need a refresher. It's quite embarrassing, really. I mean, it's one of those things where I guess that you need to do it a lot to keep it in your head, or at least maybe I do, because that's just how it is. I was expecting to come home from that little lesson and find my embroidery hook, and then getting straight back into embroidering, into crocheting. So it's a crochet hook, because I have got a crochet hook here, but the crochet hook I had was far too small, and the one that I thought would be the right size for it has gone missing. So I've had to go out and buy another one, which maybe I'll do a demo of my wonderful crochet skills in a few weeks. But in the time it's taken for me to go out and find a new crochet hook and all this sort of stuff, I've completely forgotten what Lizzie taught me. So I might have to refer to a book to see if I can get something done, or I may have to, as I say, go back and have another refresher. And at the same time, I can have a go at doing some spinning and braid making with Lizzie, because that could be quite fun. Show my lack of knowledge. Share the very few details that I've already learned, and yeah, that could be good. But yeah, let me know. Would you like to see me having a go at something like that, or would you like to see me going to a wool dyeing session, a yarn dyeing session? Because I would like to have an excuse to do that, I think. I'm just going to tie that off and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so yes, so yeah, I mean, I don't yet know what's going to be going on for the rest of the year, but I know I'm going to be sort of setting aside time to do all of the projects that I need to catch up on, and also starting to plan for next year. I'm also going to start looking for exhibitions and things, because after I finished the exhibition at the Wolverhampton Gallery, the lady there, the curator, said to me, well, there are other places that are doing exhibitions of this type of sewing and embroidery and these kinds of decorative arts, and why not apply to those? And I'm like, well, yeah, why not apply to those? So I think I'm gonna have a look and see if I can find some other gallery that might find my work interesting. And I'm also going to start trying to look at how I can make some things to sell as well. I'm not really trying to monetize my hobby, which is one of the things I really don't want to do. I don't want to make it so that I have to do this all the time and then lose the love of it. Because that's always the danger, isn't it? Is if you feel like you've got to do something, then you stop feeling like you want to do something. Or maybe that's just me. But yes, I do need to start thinking about how I can do this all full time, because all of you lovely folk out there, you've been watching and sharing my videos, and got myself quite a few more followers, over 900 now, which is for me quite a surprise. But I want to make sure that I'm doing this with as much devotion as I can, so trying to exclude things that maybe aren't necessarily all that helpful to what I want to do. Am I getting more deep and meaningful here? I think I may be. I'll get off that subject. But yes, I've also, as you may have noticed, not gone to London, and I've not gone to Liberties yet. So it's been one of those months, years, where all the things have happened, but not necessarily in the right order. So me and Squinks have said that after their GCSEs, we are going to have a break, and we're going to have a little jaunt to London, so that we can let off a little bit of steam, I think, which I think would be healthy for both of us, I think. But yes, it's going to be fun. And yeah, I've said to Squinks, because it's going to be their 16th birthday, so they want to celebrate their 16th birthday with a trip down to London, which, you know, that's all well and good. But I've said that the proviso is that the one thing that we are going to do whilst we go down there is we're going to go to Liberties, and I'm going to have my day there finally, at last, after all this time. But yes, I'm also thinking of maybe taking them to the Morris Museum in Walthamstow, so they can see that kind of patterning as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they process what we're going to do. But that's for the future, and for now I'm just going to be finishing off what I've got going on here. Yes, so that is my hour, I believe, so I'm going to start coming to an end in a second and show you where I've got to so far. I didn't get this quite finished, but same as usual, keep your eye out for the end of the video, and I'll post some pictures, and let me know what you think of them down in the comments. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. It's gone surprisingly well for me. Well, maybe not surprisingly, because I do have some idea of what I'm doing, but yes, it's great fun. I do like myself a bit of chicken scratch, as we all know. I thought it'd be nice to do something that's not quite as homely, is that how you put it? I don't know, as sort of domestic crafty, because I know that sometimes chicken scratch can be seen as more sort of country girl staying at home looking after the house whilst her husband goes to work, or that kind of thing, but it is something that can be used for a variety of images, and just needs a little bit of creativity, I think. But yes, anyway, let me know what you think of that so far down in the comments, and let me know what kind of Halloween crafts you're going to be doing as well. I do like seeing your comments, and it's always nice to know what people are getting up to, what crafting you're going to be doing at the season as well. And yes, whilst you're down there, remember to like and subscribe, and maybe give me a little bit of a share, because that helps new people to see my stuff, and it helps to help grow the community of crafters we've got here on YouTube, and also on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So we're all out there. It's nice to join the conversation. In the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much again for watching, and bye bye.